Hello, friend. Ever check your phone for the 15th time in an hour and then feel your stomach drop when you see that there's nothing there but yesterday's messages staring back at you? Just like tiny digital tombstones. That person who made plans to meet you Saturday, gone. The match who texted, "Good morning, beautiful," for 2 weeks straight, vanished. The situationship that felt so promising that you'd already began to practice how you would introduce them to your mom, dissolved into digital dust, leaving behind the ghost-shaped hole where your almost relationship used to be. Ghosting isn't about interest levels, it's about emotional capacity. And we're living in an epidemic of people too damaged to handle basic human goodbyes. If the sickening lurch of being ghosted feels like more than just hurt feelings, like your heart is a house where someone snuck out in the middle of the night without leaving you a note, you're right. This isn't just another episode about bad dating etiquette, it's an autopsy of abandonment. I'm peeling back the skin on ghosting to expose the raw, pulsing truth beneath. Ghosting isn't just rude behavior, it's a symptom of emotional damage circling through our relationships like infected blood in a dating pool where we're all swimming with open wounds. And ready for the gut punch revelation that changed how I see every unanswered text? Stay with me. I've got brutal truths about ghosting that will force you to question whether modern dating is creating emotional zombies, people who look alive but can't actually connect. These insights didn't just help me understand why my best friend got ghosted after 3 months of what felt like she was falling in love. Welcome back to Couch Tales. They're just not that into you. We've all heard that dismissive explanation for ghosting, but here's a skin-crawling truth that still makes my chest tighten. Ghosting isn't about interest levels, it's about emotional capacity. And we're living in an epidemic of people too damaged to handle basic human goodbyes. Both my friend Madison and I have been on the receiving and giving ends of these small emotional deaths, not understanding what was really happening beneath the surface. Maybe you feel the hollow ache in your chest right now as you recognize yourself in these words. The way you check your message history, hunting for clues about what went wrong. How you craft the perfect casual follow-up text, trying not to sound desperate. The way rejection without explanation leaves your brain creating the cruelest possible stories to fill the void. Or maybe you're on the other side. The person who disappears. The one who feels that flash of panic when someone wants more than you can give. Your finger hovering over the block button like it's an emergency exit from emotional discomfort. These aren't just dating mishaps, they're trauma responses. They're not just rude behavior, that's emotional damage made visible. Let me tell you about my friend Madison from college, who now lives in New York City. When Madison met Marcus on a dating app, the chemistry wasn't just instant, it was nuclear. He was smart, he was funny, he is attentive in a way that made her feel seen rather than hunted. Their texts flowed for weeks before they met in person, and when they did, the connection was so electric it could have powered her overpriced Brooklyn studio apartment. For 2 months, they were inseparable, meeting friends, making future plans, having the kind of vulnerable late-night conversations that make you feel like you've found your person, the kind where you share childhood trauma between bites of cold pizza at 2 a.m. Then one Thursday, she sent him a silly meme about something they'd joked about. A raccoon wearing sunglasses that said, "trash with class," which had become their inside joke. No response. Friday, nothing. Just the echoing void where his texts used to be. Saturday, silent. She checked his Instagram stories. He was alive, at least, posting about a concert. Sunday. Her text showing delivered, but never read. The digital equivalent of someone putting their fingers in their ears. By Monday, his profile had vanished from the app where they'd met. His Instagram suddenly private. No explanation, no goodbye, No, it's not working out, just erased from her life as if he had never existed. The pain was physical. Madison told me it felt like someone had reached into her chest and squeezed her heart until it collapsed. Not just rejection, something worse, erasure, like someone had photoshopped her out of her own emotional experience. Ghosting doesn't just hurt your feelings, it rewires your neural pathways about trust and connection faster than you can say, "I'm fine." Tried to comfort Madison with the usual lines. He wasn't worth your time anyway. It's his loss. Some people just can't communicate, but these gentle brush-offs felt like Band-Aids on a bullet wound. But something about his vanishing act felt deeper than bad manners, more disturbing than cowardice. It felt like a symptom of something rotting in our collective ability to connect. 3 weeks later, Madison was still processing the abandonment. Ghosting isn't about the ghosted, it's about the ghoster's relationship with their own emotional discomfort. That sentence stopped Madison's spin cycle of self-blame cold. The endless replays of what she might have said wrong, what signs she missed, what fatal flaw made her unworthy of even a goodbye text, all of it halted in an instant. Ghosters aren't villains. They're victims of their own underdeveloped emotional capacity, like people trying to perform heart surgery with no training. Digital silence isn't just absence, it's the loudest rejection in the modern world. Sound familiar? You're not alone. Look at your own message history. Count the conversations that trail off into nothing. Listen to friends describe great dates that never actually called again. Notice how many people cite bad experiences as reasons to keep new connections shallow. We're collectively traumatized by disconnection, yet responding to it by disconnecting more. The cycle of emotional damage perpetuates itself with each unanswered text. When someone ghosts you, they're telling a story, not about your worth, but about their wounds. Let me tell you about what happened after Marcus vanished. 2 months later, I visited Madison in New York City, and we spotted him at a coffee shop with another woman. Their body language suggested early dating stages, the careful distance, the eager leaning in, the nervous laughter. The performance of connection that looked so familiar, it was like watching a rerun of a show we'd already binged. I approached him directly, without Madison's knowledge, of course. She was hiding behind a plant like we were in some ridiculous rom-com. I said, "Hey, aren't you the guy who dated my friend Madison and then disappeared?" His response chilled me to the bone. "Oh yeah, sorry about that. I just got overwhelmed. She seemed like she wanted something serious." The thing is, they had never even had that "what are we" talk. His fear wasn't responding to something Madison had asked for. It was reacting to a future request his anxiety had already scripted for her, like she was fighting a battle with an army that existed only in his imagination. "But you've been dating for 2 months," I pressed him. "Couldn't you have just sent a text?" His answer exposed everything. Every time I try to end things, women want explanations I don't have. It's just easier this way. The casualness with which he dismissed 2 months of intimacy, of sharing dreams, fears, inside jokes, and yes, a bed, made my stomach turn. He treated their entire relationship like a free trial period he could cancel without notice. People don't ghost you because they're cruel. They ghost you because they're hiding from their own inadequacies, running from the image of themselves they have to face if they stayed to say goodbye. Your text history is like a digital graveyard, filled with conversations that died without proper burials. Just a friendly reminder, this is not professional advice, just psychological insights and personal stories. Take what resonates with you and leave the rest. So what would psychology reveal about the ghosting epidemic? Research shows something disturbing. Ghosting isn't just a modern behavior enabled by technology, it's a symptom of declining emotional capacity in a culture that prioritizes shallow connections over depth. Dr. V's research found that ghosting creates greater emotional damage than direct rejection because it triggers the brain's response to social exclusion, the same areas that activate when we experience physical pain. But here's where it gets truly skin-crawling. The most devastating moment came when Madison later found herself doing exactly what Marcus had done to her. A nice guy with whom she'd gone on 3 dates texted asking about seeing each other again, and she felt that familiar flood of anxiety rising up in her chest. Her finger hovered over the mute button. In that moment, she realized she was about to become the very ghost that had haunted her, like a victim in a horror movie who slowly transforms into the monster that bit them. Instead, she took a deep breath and a deep exhale, closed her eyes, and typed the scariest thing in modern dating: the truth. She wrote, "I've enjoyed getting to know you, but I don't feel the connection I'm looking for. I wish you all the best." It took 30 seconds to write, 10 seconds to send, and it offered both of them something precious: dignity. When she told me this story over dinner in her tiny apartment, she laughed, a mixture of pride and embarrassment. "It's like I almost joined some weird ghosting cult without realizing it," she said. Breaking the cycle felt like escaping a spell. The hardest part? Feeling the discomfort of disappointing someone directly instead of slipping away silently. Sitting with the knowledge that her words might hurt him, but her silence would damage him. Choosing the clean cut over the festering wound. In a world of digital disappearances, a simple goodbye is the most radical act of humanity, like leaving a life preserver in an ocean of silent drownings. What I learned from Madison's story is that ghosting isn't just something people do to each other. It's something our culture does to our collective ability to handle difficult emotions. The darkest truth about ghosting is that it creates exactly what the ghoster fears most: a world where genuine connection becomes increasingly impossible. Each disappearing act leaves behind a small fracture in our capacity to trust, to be vulnerable, to try again. All right, that's it for today's episode of Couch Tales: Why We Do What We Do. I'm your host, Analia. If this episode left you feeling seen in your digital abandonment, hit subscribe and share it with someone who's been haunted by unexplained disappearances. And drop a comment about your own experiences with ghosting. Until next time, friend, stay curious, stay kind, and remember that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply say goodbye properly, even when it's easier just to disappear. Stay tuned for more episodes.